Welcome, one and all, to the third installment of Doctor's Compass. If you want to take your communication and behavior skills to the next level, I'd recommend tuning into this one, because joining me today is the one and only Mark Bowden. You guys may already be familiar with him and his YouTube presence on Truthplane, where Mark teaches some of the most valuable body language and communication tools to boost confidence in speech delivery in any public speaking situation. He's also one of the body language and behavior experts on the Behavior Panel, and will soon begin preaching his work at the University of Toronto College of Medicine. And if it wasn't already obvious, Mark has worked with and taught countless high-end professionals across multiple careers, earning himself a spot as the #1 voted world's top body language professional. And with all that said, my first question for you today is, how have you been?
Oh, yeah, I've been good, Jake. Thank you. Thank you. I've been very good. Yeah, I've just been in Italy, in Florence, at somebody's 50th birthday party. It was quite an event, quite an affair.
Big show.
Yeah, big event, big show. And but I'm happy to be back in Toronto, Canada, talking to you. Thanks for having me.
Welcome home, man. That's awesome. Well, so let's dig right into it. So I want to focus mainly on obviously communication and kind of physical behavior.
Yeah.
And what I'm going to do for this podcast is I'm going to set you up with a bunch of different scenarios that I want you to kind of walk us through, because these will be pretty common when it comes to what us medical students and even some doctors now are facing. So in terms of that, this will be kind of the layout of the podcast. So the first question I kind of want to get on is this idea of essentially securing a grant. As right now, it's going to become progressively more difficult to secure like large funding for certain research projects that we need to do. Every year, we're set to do one major, or every medical student in this school at least is set to do one research project that to some extent may need a certain amount of funding. So we need to be able to convince our audience, whether the layman or a bunch of doctors, whether or not this is a research project that's worth the limited funding that we have now. So my first kind of question is, you're about to get up in front of a large audience. What are the first couple of things that we can do, body language communication wise, to set up a really good first impression?
Great. Look, let's go for the body language piece first, and then go back quite a few steps around the communication around this. But look, body language, really simple. And throughout our time together today, I'll probably talk about this a number of times.
Sure.
And this will be no mystery to you or anybody watching, viewing, listening, is that the more open you can be physically, the more open you can be, the more others are going to gravitate towards you and your message. So as I'm communicating to you right now, Jake, what I'm doing is plenty of open palm gestures.
Right.
And open palm gestures, especially around navel height here, even when sitting and talking to you, or if I was standing and talking to you, I want to be doing these open palm gestures at navel height. This triggers you at an unconscious level to feel that there are no predators in the room. There's less risk in the room, because if there was a lot of risk in the room, well, I would give you insufficient data as to what was in my hands, tools and weapons. And also I would be covering and giving you insufficient data as to the vulnerable points on my body. I'd be covering this wrist area, the fingers, I'd be covering my navel area. As you well know, there's a lot of delicate organs in this stomach area here. If they get damaged, I'm in massive trouble very, very quickly. And if you were a predator, you would take control of this center of gravity here as well to get me to the ground. So if I'm open in these hands, I'm open, underneath this arm area, I'm doing nice big open gestures, and I'm open at the navel area. This triggers you with the idea that I'm not a predator. There's no predators in the room. The room is a low risk area, and your dollar, which I want in my hands right now, your dollar is at less risk, essentially. So look, body language, if you were to focus on anything, just focus on that. I mean, you could go, get good eye contact with people, smile. But listen, under stress and pressure, it's very hard to control your eyes, control your facial features, the facial gestures. So go for those big muscle groups, open palm gestures at navel height. Now, let me go on to the communication piece, because I talked about it a little bit there. Let's just imagine that I'm communicating to you, Jake. You've got the pot of money. Okay.
Right.
That pot of money has a job. Every dollar that you have has a job to do. Okay. When I
Okay.
communicate to you, I need to understand the job that you feel that dollar has. And I need to talk to that job description, essentially. What are you
Interesting.
trying to do with that dollar? And how do I fulfill what you're trying to do with that dollar? If I don't
Oh,
understand the job of that dollar, I can't really apply myself to that dollar. And I think that's
right.
where a lot of people looking for money go wrong, is they start getting very focused on themselves and what they want to do with that dollar rather than what that dollar's job is. Does that make sense to you, Jake? Give me
Oh
some
yeah,
feedback on that.
definitely, definitely. So it seems like we're focusing kind of less on the me, and more on the how do we, me, the idea man, or the person who's trying to get this research going, to the doctor or the person who I'm trying to win it from, is like, how can we work together to accomplish the same goal? So a
Yeah.
hard understanding is that we need to know what they want from it, right? Because we're trying to win something when in reality we want to convince them that this investment is not only safe by having that kind of low gesture, open expression, stuff like that, but also to hit them with the idea of, we are trying to do with your money what you want to do with your money.
Yeah, absolutely. There
Yeah,
is risk involved all the way along this. And my
exactly.
guess is whoever I'm presenting to, either they or the people on the board behind them have a very clear agenda as to the job of each dollar that they're giving
Exactly.
out. Okay.
Exactly.
And so I need to do my research and go back into the documentation or around that and go, what are they really trying to do with this money? And how can I tell the best story that I understand that, I appreciate that, and I empathize with what they're trying to get with that, do with that money. And I think, that's often where people go wrong. They go, look, my research, my research, my research, and they don't make a big enough link to the job of your dollar,
Right.
and the people on the board can't make that link.
Connection. Yeah.
They can't make that connection. So can I help them do their job, which is to make the connection between the job of their dollar and what my research is doing, and show very little risk between the
Right.
two?
As long as there's some form of transparency, it seems like that's where you have the best outcome, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
let's say you're presenting your slides, you say what kind of research you want to do, and that's great and all, but maybe in the middle or even in the beginning or in the end, you would say, well, here's what your dollar is going to be given to: buying the
yeah,
cells, buying the equipment, renting out the lab, getting this
right.
certain like machine to run this process. So as long as they feel safe, like you mentioned before, and comfortable about where their money is going, it doesn't matter. They kind of trust you because they know what is in store. That you're telling
Yeah,
them verbatim.
I'll be very verbatim about this, and it may
Yeah.
not fit exactly, but you know, I would be saying things like, well, we are doing, research on X, and because you will be funding, machine
Mm.
Y on
Yeah.
this, you can feel secure that your money has been spent in a way that fulfills its objectives and gets us the best medical research that you can get on this. It's like I need to say verbatim back to them what they are trying to do, because they
Exactly.
often can't make the link, you
Mm-mm.
know because, Jake, some of the research may well be for them research that they've not come across before. I mean, because otherwise, why would you be researching it? There's
In all
already
honesty,
there's
yeah.
already an answer, isn't there?
Yeah. Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. And then
So
that's a big thing for us, because the researchers, the people who are responsible for holding those grants, can only exactly understand so much. And especially when you've been focusing on it, even the older folks that do the research, they've been doing it for 20, 30 plus years. They probably know a little bit more about their exact research and why they want this grant than the people who are sitting behind closed doors. You know
Right,
what I mean?
right. And look, there will often be a certain amount of nervousness and trepidation on the part of the
Mm,
person applying for the money,
mm.
because they're like, wow, this could be this, in many cases it's like, well, this could be my career.
It's
This could be make or break for me. So I
defining
understand.
feature.
Right. So I understand your nervousness there, but understand this, the people giving the money have a problem as well. Okay. They have a problem as well because they don't know yet where to give it. If they did, it would already be out of
Keep
their
going.
hands and they have to
Exactly.
give it somewhere. Okay. Nobody gives that money and says, by the way, if you can't find anybody to give it to, you just keep it. Keep it because if they keep it in their hands, it gets attrition daily, due to
Yeah.
market forces. A
Yeah,
dollar
exactly.
held for a day is not a dollar at the end
The
of
next
that
day.
day.
No,
Okay,
it's
so
not.
that they've got a problem. Help them. You go into that room, help them spend that dollar wisely and confidently because they don't know how to spend. By the way, if they knew how to spend it, they would never get people into a room and go, hey, pitch
Mm,
me. They just
no.
go, look, we know. There's this
Yeah.
piece of research over here. It's beautiful. We trust the people. Let's not have any open forum. Let's just put the money straight in their hands and get on with it. Because every day we hold it, every day we wait with this money, it's worth less and
Right.
less and less. Okay. So they got a problem. Help them with their problem.
Not to mention the amount of time that it takes to sit down for each interview when it comes to researchers. So if they're sitting there in front of you and want to give you a solid chance, they're putting in time, their effort into making sure that you can be like giving you a chance to be trusted.
Right. Right.
So
Listen,
that's
if you've
definitely
got in the
correct.
room with them and they've said, hey, talk, there's already summing up, which is good. Like there's
Exactly.
something positive
Exactly.
going.
I
Not
like that.
everybody gets in the room. I'm never getting in the room. I don't know what I'm talking about. Okay, when it comes to I'm never getting in the room. Now, if I got in the room, I could convince them. Okay, but
Yes,
I'm
obviously.
never getting in the room in the first place. You're going to get in the room. Your colleagues are going to get in
I'm
the
gonna get
room.
yeah.
Yeah, what they need is these ideas of influence and persuasion. Okay, and
Yeah.
influence means to get in flow with somebody, to get in the
Mm,
river with
yeah.
them. So I've got to understand, I've got to have empathy for what is the position of the board that I'm talking to, of the interviewer that I'm
Right.
talking
Right.
to. What is the situation that they've got themselves into? And can I show them that I empathize, I understand their situation?
Definitely. And then that kind of brings me to my next question in terms of position is does any of this logic change when I'm talking to a professional versus in-professional? Because I've done a presentation once on a piece of research, and I did it. It was like a practice. We have like practice sessions where we can do this,
Yeah,
and most of my audience relatively highly educated.
yeah,
Some of my audience, the layman, in all honesty, staff
yeah,
members came there to like cheer us on, you
yeah,
know? So how you structure your presentation is, I would feel, is reflective on who the audience is. So
yeah.
sure, the presentation would look different, and we can get to that in a minute because I'm sure we'll get there. I want to take a look specifically at the behavioral and communicative aspect of, is there a change between talking to a professional group or a layman?
Yeah, and it's almost fully going to be about the language, okay, and
Language?
metaphor and simile. Okay, so
Yeah,
let's dig into this because
communication.
it's really important. So first of all, I want to say you may have many people in the audience and many constituents in the audience. Okay,
Mm.
but some are more important than others. Okay, so
Oh,
everything in the universe is really important. Okay, but
yeah.
sometimes some things and some people are way more important than others. So
In that
Jake,
moment.
yeah. So Jake, imagine really this communication you are doing is about getting the funding. Okay, so there are some people in the audience, let's say, who are directly in control of the money. Okay, and there's some people there who came to cheer you on. Okay,
Okay.
love them,
Yeah.
fantastic. Okay,
Great.
who in your mind is most important right now?
Most likely the people who are going to be giving me the grant.
You're
Right.
right. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
right. You're right.
Of
We love
course.
the people who came on to cheer you, but ultimately, now, having said that, could we suggest that there might be, that the people with the money might be influenced somewhat by the lay people around them? It's possible somewhat,
Yeah.
and you might think about that. You might go,
Yeah.
well, the atmosphere that I create in the room could influence somewhat, and maybe some of the board might go up to some of those lay people, and go, hey,
Let's
what did
see.
you think of that?
Hmm.
And they may go, well, I'm going to it feels like it could make a big difference to America's health. Okay, so there's what the money is being spent on, yeah,
Hmm.
and then there's the idea of the bigger society, yeah, and all of those can influence, all other elements. But look,
See.
let's just and okay, so let's say as well that these funders maybe have a good understanding, a good enough understanding of say the chemistry that
Right.
you Jake
The
might be
research.
talking about, the
Right.
research.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. Well, you're going to be able to talk to them in a professional language that
Right.
they and a scientific language that they will most likely understand. Great, good. Now let's say you've got an audience there of lay people, and you've got an audience there of people who run and own that money, have power over that money, but actually they're not biochemists, they're not doctors, you know. Now your language has to change. And
So it
now I would
does.
say you're in the language of simile and metaphor in order not to confuse them or to help them feel safe. So look, Jake,
Okay.
our brain is not a knowledge machine, it's a best guess machine. Okay. We're
Okay.
always best guessing. And sometimes we guess so accurately, so often that we believe we have knowledge. Okay. And then sometimes we don't guess right and accurately, and we go, oh, I don't understand this anymore. Okay. But it's just you stopped guessing accurately. Okay. Because your accurate guesses are made up of patterns of accurate guesses.
Right.
Okay.
What we've
It's just,
learned.
you've learned. You've
Yeah.
learned. Yeah. And you've learned to be able to be so accurate with your probability guessing that it feels like knowledge until that gets destroyed. Until you go, damn, I didn't
Hmm.
expect that.
Yeah.
Whoa, what the
Yeah.
hell's
Yeah.
happening here?
That happens a lot in medical school.
Right.
I
Yeah,
promise you.
absolutely. Absolutely. It's like, that's not what was meant to happen.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you guessed wrong. Okay. That's all that happened. Okay. So what the brain does to get comfortable is it does this best guessing. And in language, we use metaphor and simile. So simile is saying something is like something else, is like something that it is not. Okay. So life is like a box of chocolates. Okay, that's a simile because I said, now a metaphor is I tell you that it is that other thing. I
Right.
go, life is a box of chocolates. Okay, that's a very different trick than life is like a box of chocolates.
I didn't know this was an English class, man. I'm going
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well,
But
listen,
yeah, okay. I see
this is a
what you mean.
very, very important class in magic, essentially, because
Right.
I'm tricking your mind into pretending for a moment that something is something that it is not.
Right.
Okay. So, for example, you might, you might have a chemical compound that you would represent with some letters and some symbols. That'd be
Right.
fair, wouldn't it?
Right.
But it isn't that, is it?
No.
No. Can you explain to me? Let's just take a simple hydrocarbon. Can you
Sure.
explain to me what that is?
What a hydrocarbon is,
Yes,
it's
yes.
it's a
Explain to me what it.
collection of hydrogens and carbons in like a little trail, basically,
Right.
or
Sorry.
in air.
What's a hydrogen?
A hydrogen is one of the elements on the periodic table.
Sorry, what's a periodic table?
And the periodic table is all the elements that we know
What's an
in the
element? What's an
known
element?
universe. An element is a basic part of a greater structure.
Right, Jake, do you see how complex this is?
Yeah.
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 And
Yeah.
because you and I, like, I'm being a bit pedantic, but
Oh, it's
because
good. I
I
love
have
it.
a basic understanding of chemistry and
Yeah.
physics, but anybody who didn't would see,
Struggle.
yeah, would absolutely struggle. Okay, because we don't know exactly what concepts we're all signing up to together
Mhm.
that we're believing to be true. Okay, and
Yeah.
so when you write down, these basic elements and the connections between them, if I've studied that, I go, okay, I believe you.
Mhm.
Okay, that is true. I need
Yeah.
no further evidence. Okay, we've signed up to the same patterns, the same predictions. Okay, but if I don't have any of that, you will need a simple metaphor. Okay, so so a so so let's
And
try
that's
that.
what I'm gonna say. How do you put that? Like that's
Okay,
really good, but what's the example?
okay. What's the answer? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, we'll get there. We'll get there. Jake, give me this. Last piece of funding that you went for, or last kind of presentation you made. What was the research you were talking about? Okay,
It
just
was Yeah, it was essentially a drug that's we're trying to invent to help target COVID fusion to human cells.
okay, okay. Help
Yeah,
target COVID fusion to
to human cells.
human cells.
And maybe to the
Okay.
layman that doesn't make too much sense,
No,
let's say.
so I've got to get pictures in my head right
Right.
now of that COVID thing, and people have made
Virus.
pictures of that. So I've got
All
that
right.
that
Yeah. So you have
picture
a
in
little
my
ball
head,
with the red
and I've got a
spikes.
human cell, but is it the right human cell? I mean, there are
Who
many
knows?
human cells, aren't there?
Right.
It's like
Right.
it's like okay, so you're hoping that my brain is creating the right pictures that I
As
will
what
make
I'm
the
saying.
right decision and give you some money.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
and so you're in the world of hope. Okay, now.
Definitely.
Yeah. Okay. So here's what I want you to do. We're going to create a metaphor for this. And here's the
Do it.
thing, the metaphor doesn't have to be any good. You just need one. Okay. You just
Okay.
need, it doesn't need to be
Okay.
any good. Metaphors are
Okay.
ridiculous in the first place. A metaphor says something is something that it is not. So it's a
Right.
complete imaginary idea. So don't
Okay.
think you have to be any good. I want your best try at it right now.
Sounds
Okay.
good. Sounds
what
good.
is what is this like when you're is it that you're trying to stop the COVID attaching to a
Yes,
cell?
that's
Yeah.
right.
Okay.
So yeah,
What's it
the
best like?
best.
What's it
So
like?
I have, I mean, I've done this a couple of times, so I've explained this to people.
Yeah.
But usually my best like go-to metaphor is like the interaction between them is a puzzle. And if the puzzle doesn't fit, then it doesn't connect and you don't get viral infection. So that's the
Okay.
best, like, yeah.
Okay.
Does
Okay,
that,
so let's be even more specific. What's a
okay.
puzzle that everybody's done? So because I don't, some people don't like jigsaw puzzles, some people have not don't do. Like, what's a puzzle everybody's done?
Everyone's done.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's like a regular puzzle, like 36-piece puzzle. I don't know.
Yeah. Or is it okay, let's go for this one. Let's go for this one because everybody's put a key in a lock.
Oh, okay, there we
Yeah.
go. I see what you mean.
Everybody's put a
Yeah.
key in a lock.
So it's like
Like
a key and
everybody's done that.
lock situation.
Okay. So what is this? If
Yes.
we make it a key and a lock, what does this do that
Okay.
stops the key going in the lock? Because I think that's what you're, if we take
Yeah,
that
exactly.
metaphor, that's what you're trying
Exactly.
to do. What's
Exactly.
it, what's it like?
So this drug is supposed to act like a piece of chewing gum and it's supposed to go
Ah,
in the hole of the lock so that
love
when you
it.
put the key in, it
Can't
doesn't
go
fit
in.
in.
Can't go in.
Can't go in.
Okay. So the moment okay, and we know, here's what happens in my brain. The moment you go, it's chewing gum in the lock, I
Yeah,
go, how annoying for the key. How
exactly.
annoying. And it has an emotional reaction with me as I go, hang
Exactly.
on, I'm trying to get in and I'll never get in
And I
there.
can't. Yeah.
And I can't. And even if I can, it's gummed up the lock. The little
The
I don't know what
sprockets or
the
whatever.
little
I don't know
sprocket.
what
Yeah,
they're
they
called
can't
either.
they can't go up and down. Like it's
Yeah.
locked. It's locked
Yes.
forever. Okay. So the moment you make your research we are going to make the chewing gum that bungs up the lock. So
Exactly.
COVID can't get in. And even if it does, it can't
Yeah.
trigger the lock and
It can
unlock
enter
the
our
cell.
bodies, but it can't enter our cells.
Right.
Essentially, is what we're
Now
getting
you've
at.
created something that I understand.
Right.
Now you've created something that has an emotion for me. And look, I
Mm.
don't know whether I'm going to be able to give you the money or not, but I'm
No.
not confused by this, because
Yeah.
before there was the possibility that I was already confused. I already felt like, damn, Jake's smart and I'm not smart, but I do control this money. So
Yes.
let me show Jake who's cleverer, because I control the money and Jake doesn't control the
In
money.
the end, that's what matters.
Yeah. So Jake played a bit of power on me, I believe,
Yeah.
in my sense of not feeling quite worthy at that time, when Jake was telling me all of these things that
Flaunting.
I don't fully
Yeah.
understand. Like,
Yeah.
let me show you how smart I am, Jake, by holding back the
For
money
my money.
from you. Now you made me
Okay.
feel smart. Yeah.
So we can start to look at this at like 10 different angles, because
Right.
it's not only is it, especially when it comes to layman, you need to kind of target their emotion. I love
Yes.
that you mentioned that. I've never thought about, in a situation where it's research, I personally get programmed to think it's logic, logic, logic,
Right. Right. Right.
you know?
Right.
But the idea of like doing this whole gum in the lock scenario made me realize that when you have this ding moment for that layperson, the emotions kind of flood in, and then that can enact a change.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
not only is it logic based, not only is it letting them know that you're here to help in terms of funding, like your dollar is you being used for what it wants to be used for.
Yes.
We're also saying, here's a little emotional kind of, what was it, pathos. Here's a little
Yeah.
bit of like
Yeah.
pathos to kind of
Yeah.
train you into wanting to take my. And honestly, I think they'll take the funny research over the more logical research, if
Totally.
you think about it.
Totally. Let me extend this even further to the way that I see it as well, Jake.
Mm,
Is that imagine there's me, and I'm on the board and I have power over this money, and you give me this chewing gum idea, and I get
mm,
it. Okay.
yeah.
And so now I'm having a conversation with you. Okay, so what are we making the chewing gum out of? What chewing gum has been before? How is this chewing gum different from other
Ah,
chewing gum? Okay, so now
yeah.
I'm now able
Ask
to
questions.
ask questions in terms of the metaphor. Now,
I
here's the
see.
thing. At the end of the day, I'm going off to a dinner party. Okay. And I'm going off
Okay.
to a dinner party. And at
Yeah.
that dinner party are some of the people who deliver the money to me that I deliver to you. And this is the
Okay.
reality of the world. Okay. Is
You're
that
gonna be in close contact with these
yeah, yeah,
people.
yeah. And
Is what
other
you're saying.
people as well. And other
Right.
people as well.
Yeah.
And they're going to go, Mark, what did you do today? Yeah. What do you do? Or they're going to go, Mark, what do you do? Yeah. And at that point, they're not in my world. They might be in the world of just they generate money and they have to give that money to other
To
people
some.
who would,
Yeah.
to do something with it. Okay. And so I could turn to them and go, okay, well, we were hearing some stuff from Jake on, and I could talk to them in terms of the chemistry of it. Or I could turn to them and go, well, what we're doing is we're doing some research. Okay. I'm funding some research right now on, I'm going to speak about it in this way, creating a kind of a chewing gum, okay, that
Yeah.
bungs up the lock on a human cell. That means
So,
COVID can't get into there. And even if it
mhm.
does, it can't unlock the cell and
Right.
ravish that
Right.
cell. Okay.
Yes.
You gave me a story that I can tell at the dinner party. And
I
that makes
see.
me confident. Okay.
Mm.
That makes me confident to tell that story and to stand up in front of the rest of society and go, here's what we're doing with the money.
Right.
And for that very reason, I might fund you more than anybody else,
I see.
because
So
you give me
yeah,
better
you're
ways to speak
supportive.
about it.
Yeah. Okay, I see what you mean. So it's also a matter of making them feel comfortable to speak about your work, and using these metaphors will help them to better understand and feel confident about talking about it.
Right, right.
Okay.
You give me better stories to
Yes.
tell. Okay.
Story.
And a
Story.
story is as simple as a metaphor. that you're telling me something is something that it is not. That's a story. You're only telling a story. Just like every time you write down the chemical composition, you're telling me a story.
Mhm.
It's not that. That's not,
Mhm.
it isn't lines on a page. Okay. It's utterly complex. What's going, it's waves in the, it's,
Right.
it's, I mean,
We're
ultimately,
stepping into quantum now.
the chemical. I mean, it's waves that have slowed down to such a level that they've become solid in time and
Yeah,
space.
of course.
Right? Isn't it? I mean, if you want to really, it's not
We're gonna be
light
the next
anymore.
Einsteins, man.
Yeah,
Just you
yeah,
wait. It's gonna be great. Okay, so I definitely have a better understanding of what behavior and communication looks like, both on a layperson and a more professional standpoint in front of a large audience, right? Is there any? I feel like honestly, because my next question was a one-on-one situation. How does that change? And I feel like it's relatively similar because you still kind of want to tell story. You still want to sound logical. You still want to tell them that your money is going to where you want it to go. It is a group effort between you and the person in
yeah.
front of you. Is there
Well,
anything else that,
let's
yeah.
talk about that group effort, Jake, because
Mm,
you want to get aligned with that person one on
yeah,
one.
their values.
Okay. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. So let's talk about geometry. Okay.
Okay.
So, I'm sitting, opposite you right now.
Right.
Okay. Um, and imagine that I'm sitting opposite you at a table. Geometrically, that's what we'd call in antagonism towards you. Okay.
With the table in the middle.
Yeah, yeah, with the table in the middle,
Uh-huh.
and it would be in antagonism and a barrier. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. That
Now,
makes sense.
I'm very skilled at getting on. You're skilled at getting on. We're both communicators, Jake. So
Okay.
we're probably
Thank you.
not going to argue. Okay. We're gonna be doing a lot of work not to argue.
Okay.
But here's what I would say: the 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 geometry of the situation we've got ourselves into. If I were to predict argument, yeah, I'd say under that geometry, you're more likely to get argument. So if you don't
I
have
see.
skilled communicators, they will argue with each other and they won't even know they're doing it because they're
Got it.
physically in opposition. Although they're trying to get on, they're
Oh,
physically in opposition. Okay.
I see.
So let's move,
Okay.
just in case, let's move ourselves to a different position. We'll move ourselves geometrically to the complement of each other, which would mean that I would be at 90 degrees to you. Okay.
Yeah.
So I've gone from opposition,
Directly to like,
yeah, to the complement,
oh,
which means I'm
90,
sitting at 90 degrees
like on a
to
corner,
you at a corner.
kind of.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah,
Right.
at a corner. And so let me kind of
Like
approximate
angle.
that. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Let me approximate it to
Like
you.
this.
Okay. Let me approximate it to you.
Yeah.
Can you feel even now as you're looking at the image of me that there's slightly less conflict? Okay, there's just
It
slightly less.
seems like it's more open. I've like
Okay.
I mean, granted, you're not looking directly at me, which I think has its own kind of
Yes.
connection. Like that's just
Yeah.
like the first thing that comes to my head. But it does seem like you're less threatening if you
Yeah.
are to appear that way.
Yeah, absolutely. So
Okay.
I'm now reducing the threat by being in
Right.
complement and not in antagonism, not in
I see.
opposition.
Right.
Okay. And so here's what I'm going to do now as well. When I talk about when we're discussing the issue, the problem,
Yeah.
okay, I'm going to make that. Let me just take this here. I'm going to make that um, on a piece of paper in front of us and direct you to that rather than do it here. Okay. I'm going to
Oh,
take you to the problem being here and
I
us
see.
working on the problem together.
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 Oh,
You know?
so even the body angle matters
Yeah.
a lot when you're addressing a problem. When addressing
Yes.
a problem, bring something physical with you that has that problem, and then like
Yes.
scoot in, get on the
Yes.
table, and say like, "Hey, this is what's going on, and
Yeah.
here's what we want to do." Oh,
Yeah. 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 Because look,
I've never thought about it like
let
that.
me approximate it with you right now.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me say it's Jake. Let's imagine that you've got the money. Okay. And I'm doing the
Mm,
research. Okay.
okay.
So if I look directly at you and I'm in antagonism and I say, look, Jake, here's the situation: is my research requires your money. Okay, my
Yeah.
research requires your money. Okay,
Okay.
so I need you to give me that money. Okay,
It seems very
okay.
direct.
Very
It
direct.
feels
Okay,
it feels not aggressive, but it feels forward.
forward. Okay,
Essentially.
lovely.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Now I'm just going to angle myself more at 90 degrees to you.
Right.
Again, we're approximating it here on camera.
Yeah. No, it's
Okay.
hard. Yeah. Obviously.
Yeah, but look, let me say to you in this way that Jake, what my research requires is for you to give me that money, your money for
Mm.
this research.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you're
How's it
gesturing this
feeling
way.
now?
Yeah.
Okay.
It seems like you're addressing a problem and you're not pointing at me directly, so I don't feel like I'm a problem.
Right.
So it's like, oh,
Now,
we're working on this together.
right.
It's yeah.
Now, let me tell you, Jake, that you can see the research that we're doing here.
Yeah.
Okay. And what we lack here is the finance in order to really complete that research. Listen, what do you think you might like to be able to do about this issue here?
I like that too.
Yeah.
It's an invitation to work.
Right.
Not please give me money. It's
Right.
what can you provide to help us with the situation? That's what I'm here.
Right.
I'm here
Right.
asking for your help.
Right,
Okay.
exactly. So
Being
look,
sincere.
it's taking the pressure off of this conflict.
This and more.
And the conflict is you have the money and you haven't given it to me yet.
Right. That's true. Yeah, I haven't said
the
yes
conflict,
yet.
yeah, the conflict is inherent there. But the moment I place the issue somewhere else, it's not between us. Like we're going to fix the issue. The issue is the research doesn't have the cash to complete it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the issue.
It's not us, it's them. It's like it's not us, it's the research. Yeah.
And we can fix this.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like, what do you want to do? What are some of your options that you'd like to offer on fixing this?
Right.
You know?
I love that.
And here's where I push it even further. And I won't be able to approximate this on camera with you, but in a perfect world, I'm going to get on the same side as you and look at this problem.
Yeah.
Now, a really fast way to do that would be for us both to stand up and go to a whiteboard and look at that whiteboard together.
Oh, that's perfect. Yeah. That's like easily what you want to do because you're not like pointing at him, you're pointing at the board.
Right.
So
right.
Fine.
And I go, look, let me sketch out, the problem that what we're dealing with here. Okay. And I take up the pen and I sketch out that and I go, look, and we're short of, 3 million in order to complete this. And I put the pen in your hand. I go, what do you want to, what can you see yourself being able to do around this? And you might sketch out, well, I think we got, 1.5 for the first, year to see where this goes.
Right.
I go, lovely, fantastic. So now we're working on this together.
Right.
Okay. Which is very different from me going, look, give me the money.
Definitely. And then I want to hark back on that one question or that one idea because people have always told me if you want to appear confident and like what you're doing, sure, like you mentioned opening up kind of below like at that navel line.
Yeah.
But you want to face this is what's kind of like getting weird with my head where it's like if you go like this now it feels more like a friend conversation even though it's supposed to be a little more professional. Now, I would be thrilled if you could look at me and say, don't worry about this upfront stuff. Everything doesn't need to be professional. Get friendly, because that's the kind of stuff that people are going to like. So my question to you is, I know this is good. How is this all of a sudden good? And is it better?
Yeah. Okay. So people worry about conflict all the time. Yeah. And when we get into antagonism with each other, i.e. we kind of face off directly with each other, and also we close off as well. Right. For anybody just listening to this, I folded my arms as I'm talking with Jake. Yeah, and this doesn't mean I'm closed. Sometimes people are making a decision when they fold their arms. Yeah. But look how already, Jake, you've responded to that by leaning back and kind of swinging in your chair. Yeah. So I'm responding to that. Okay. Right. And again, now let's take it this far. Okay, so maybe we're having a very professional conversation and we both can talk at a professional level about this. But also, Jake, that at some point you're going to have to introduce me to the people who are supplying this money. Okay?
Yeah.
There's you who finds the research, okay?
Yeah.
But then there's the people who give the money to you in order to go and
Get that. Yeah.
fund the
Yeah.
research. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. And you got a couple of people in your mind that you could introduce. There's either me, brilliant
Yeah.
researcher. Yeah.
Really great.
Really great research.
Podcast.
Okay.
Or
me leant back, arms folded, doesn't do anything to my research. I'm a brilliant scientist. Okay.
I don't need all this extra fluff.
Yeah. Because it doesn't, how good I am in any conversation, that makes no difference to my research.
Reputation.
It doesn't. Okay. So there's either me or exactly the same competent researcher, okay, but with open gestures, okay, getting on better with you, okay, and this is the person. There's two people you can deliver to the benefactor to go, here's who we're spending the money on, okay. Well, what do you think your bias is going to do? Because we're both great at the research.
Exactly.
Okay.
Obviously, there's going to be a certain bias that comes in at first, and that's that first impression is what hits hard. Even if the other person with arm folded is a little bit better in terms of research, if they're both like experience, if they're both pitching the same idea, there's a good chance I'll take the person who made me feel good in that moment.
Right.
You know
Look,
what I mean?
You and everybody else out there that's going for that's looking to do research and needs funding for this. You have a great idea. It could make a massive difference to people's lives.
We're confident.
Yeah, you're confident in that. It is your duty to become good at communicating. Okay, because otherwise, I tell you what will happen is me, who knows nothing, I will get the money. Yeah, I will get the money. And I don't know what I'm doing, but I will get hold of that money. And I will not only screw it up for me, I'll screw it up for all of us. Okay. I will not know what to do with it. I will misspend it. My science will be terrible. Okay. But I was the better communicator. And because the research, because my science is rubbish, because it will amount to nothing, it will mean that people will pull their money out of that market. Okay. So it is your duty to become a great communicator as well as a great scientist, okay, in order to make sure you win the money from people like me, okay, because I for sure, with my communication skills, will be able to influence and persuade people that I know what I'm doing, and I don't, okay?
And that like what you're saying, I'm sure a lot of those listening would feel kind of pressure. Because like I've been studying, I'm in medical school. I'm brilliant. I know I can handle any research situation, and I've come up with this research. So of course I have some talent with me, but God, I've never really approached someone like this in such a, I guess not serious, but like, I guess colloquial, like friendly way, trying to pull the same idea through, So to us, it seems pretty easy because, I mean, you've been a communicator forever, and I have a lot of experience in the service business. So I know my way around a conversation. But I just feel like for them, it can be really hard. Are there any like words of inspiration that you can kind of, or just like, we just talked about all this stuff, but what's the key? Like, do this. Just if you want to start, do this.
Yeah,
what is that?
That's a really great question, because it's so easy for us to talk about this, and then it's like, okay, well, how do I go in the room and do this? Well, look,
like what did we just learn from this past conversation?
Sure. So look, I'm gonna, as I said right at the start of this conversation, I will keep going back to open palm gestures at navel height. Okay, because that you can do. You can do it or not do it. Okay.
Right.
And what I'm going to say to everybody is, I don't care how you feel at the time. Do that. Okay. Your body will want to take control of this by doing what it normally does. Okay.
Want to,
Yeah. And this is an extraordinary situation. Okay. If you are, let's just throw out some numbers. If you're going in front of somebody and asking them for $500,000, this is extraordinary. This is not your normal day. So stop doing your normal behaviors. Okay. So you got to do new extraordinary behaviors. And the best extraordinary behavior you could do is lots of open palm gestures
Yeah.
at navel height. Super confident.
Smiling.
Now,
Yes.
the other thing is I do want you to do some of your normal behaviors. I want you to think about when you communicate at your best. Okay. Like, for example, right now, today, Jake, yeah, I think you're being a
Mm.
great communicator. You're
Yeah.
listening really well. You're
Yeah.
asking great questions. You're adding in your own content. You're lifting stuff up. Yeah. You're very
Hmm.
clear with what you're very open and big about what you're doing. Okay.
Hmm.
Here's what I'd say to you. Why can't you go into that situation when you're asking 500,000, okay, and be this person? Okay. Can you be this person in that situation?
Yes. I can be. I
Right,
can be. It's, I
right.
mean, I'm not saying I'm not at like. There's always something you can learn in terms of communicating properly,
Sure.
but there are some people who are struggling with this concept more than
Right,
people like you and
right.
me are. When you ask another person my age that question, they would say, "Man, I just I feel like I need to be more professional. I feel like I need to be acting like this or this because that's what I've seen and that's what I should replicate." So
Yeah,
they have less trust in that what they will do is what how they act in a general situation is right,
yeah.
if that
Okay,
makes
so
sense.
look, they need to find their own idea of when they've been a great communicator.
Right.
If you can get a few moments of that, with that funder, I guarantee they will be more biased towards you because they
There we go.
saw that moment. So just always think, when have I been at my best at communication, and how can I just do that a little bit more in the interview?
Mhm. And I think that's
Okay?
perfect because
Just a little bit more.
everyone has that aspect where they can be where they had that passionate moment with their friends where they can kind of and they can replicate they can easily
Right. So
right,
try your
yeah,
best, okay, to just get a little more like that.
a
Okay.
little
So I'm
more.
not saying, hey, do that all the time.
Yeah,
I'm
change
just
your
saying,
entire
yeah, yeah,
no,
yeah.
like
I'm just
no.
going, can you be a little more like that? Because
Yeah,
that's you at your best as a communicator. So we want
yeah,
you as your best as a scientist, and we want you at your best as a communicator. And we want both of those to show up in the meeting,
the same time.
okay, at the same time,
No pressure. But yeah.
rather than the
But
great scientist. Yeah.
right, who's with his arms folded,
Right,
That's
because that relies on a really great scientist showing up at the same time as well to be able to interface with you.
with that for
Yeah.
sure.
And that's not always the case. And even if that's the case, the great scientist is going, but what am I going to tell my benefactor? What am I going to tell my funder?
Yeah.
What story can I this person, Jake hasn't given me a story. And the people before gave me a story. Yeah. And so I got to go back tonight and have dinner with the benefactor and go, well,
Who
here's
am I
the
gonna
way I
tell?
want to go
Yeah,
on this. And they're
yeah.
not a scientist. And I got to tell
Nope.
them a story. And by the way, this is all happening unconsciously in their mind.
In their heads.
Okay.
Yeah.
And listen, you might say to me, no, but hang on, the person making the decisions is a logical thinker and into science and only makes logical decisions. If they believe that, yeah, that means they're even more open to influence and persuasion. Yeah. Because if they're telling you, if they're saying, look, I just make logical decisions, yeah,
Uh-huh.
the amount of people on the planet who truly do that, they're a minuscule
Oh,
amount,
I see.
minuscule amount,
Yeah.
and they usually need like 24-hour care around them.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
because they
Yeah.
can't function in the world of concepts and emotions and
Yeah.
relationships. So they
Gotcha.
have to have somebody who interfaces the emotions and concepts
Right.
and
So we need to play
relationships with
both
them.
roles, kind
Yeah.
of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you need to understand that person who you may think is very logical is not. They are still making
Right.
emotional decisions unconsciously.
Right. So
And
yeah.
so that is the way you're going to influence and persuade them, with stories, and stories that they can transfer,
Right.
which is your bubble gum in a lock, your
In the
chewing gum
long
in a
idea.
lock is
Yeah.
a transferable idea.
Okay. I see more what you mean now. And like no one, very few people are solely logic.
Very
So
few. And if you've
coming
got one of
from
those in the room, They're not
Then
speaking. They're not talking.
no,
They're not talking. You don't know that they're
no,
there. They never
yeah,
said anything. Okay. They have somebody who looks after them. They're going to get themselves into such massive trouble when they leave the room.
exactly.
And
Because
they're
then
going
it
to,
becomes a lack of empathy or
oh, they're going
whatever
to
that may
insult
be.
people. They're going to, I mean,
Exactly.
they're going to get themselves, in a
Yeah.
fight.
Something that happens with us is that during the first 4 years of medical school, at least for our school, the first 2 years are mostly educational, where we're sitting in front of a computer doing practice questions. So how do we handle an angry patient, right? I gave the patient medication and the pain isn't going away,
Yeah.
right? Or the patient is worried about how their child, like the child is not feeling better after taking medication, and now the parent feels helpless. And as a
Yeah.
result, so if everyone reacts differently, this patient in specific became angry because his child is still in pain and the medication didn't work. They're blaming you. What do you know that we can do to help alleviate the situation?
What we tend instinctually to want to do is some kind of version of that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So how do we
Yeah.
go about doing that then?
Right. And so we've got to avoid any variation of no reason to be angry about this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
We've got to go to the opposite end, and we've got to accept their anger, which means it doesn't mean we agree with it at all. So the first thing about acceptance is open palm gestures, navel height. Okay. Because
Okay,
what you
cool. So
want to do
it still kind of goes.
yeah.
Okay.
The first thing you want to do when there's anger in the room is to protect yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
Because
Is to cover over vulnerable areas on the body that could get attacked. Okay. Yeah. And if I just do that body language in front of you right now, and you've come to me angry, and I start into look, there's no reason, Jake, to really be angry about this. In fact, what we do as well is misname what it is. Okay. So there's no reason, Jake, to be confused about what's gone on here. Okay. I can see you're very confused about this, and really, I would ask you to stop. Let me, tell you what's gone on here, so you don't have to be confused anymore.
Yeah.
I'm protecting the carotid arteries and windpipe.
Yeah.
Okay, and also protecting my wrist areas. Wow. Okay, and closing off on my stomach area, and also you came to me angry, but I'm calling it confusion. Yeah, right. And I don't know what the problem is already. Okay?
It doesn't feel like, maybe you do know what the problem is, but the way that you're presenting yourself makes me feel as if, is this even a doctor?
Right. Like, you come to me angry. Okay. It looks like anger to me. Okay. I'm good enough at reading body language that I'm going, great, this person's angry. You got a tight top lip. Yeah. You're baring your bottom teeth. Your eyes have narrowed. Yeah. Your head's pointed down. Here. Okay. I'm thinking to myself, okay, I could start by going, hey, Jake, really feels to me like you might be angry right now. Am I right? Okay. So
now we were saying like, no, you're going
to nod your head. Okay. Like, no, so now I'm going to investigate more. Okay. Jake, what are you most angry about? Okay.
Well, my child right now is suffering.
I get it.
And the medication that you gave him is not working.
I get it. Yeah. Okay, so all I'm doing is accepting.
I get it.
Yeah. Okay. Now I didn't agree with you at all. Okay. I didn't agree with you. Okay. Yeah. I accepted. Okay. So all I'm doing is accepting body language and accepting language. But at no point did I go, Jake, you're right. That's exactly what's happened. Okay. I didn't say that at all.
When I'm talking with people and they're angry or whatever, they're lamenting towards me, venting, whatever it may be, I would say like, oh, I feel you, or like, I can see why you may feel this way. Yeah. Is that an agreeing statement that we're trying to avoid, or is that an empathetic statement that we should use?
It's good. It's good and empathetic. I would nuance it slightly. I can see how you feel that way. Not that you might feel, because it is how you feel. It's not how. I mean, you told me. When I said you're angry right now, is that right? You went, yeah. I said, what's made you most angry? So I'm now looking for hierarchy. I want the biggest thing.
Okay, what made you angry?
Yeah, what has most made you angry? So I'm going to use most. What has most made you angry here?
Oh, I like most. Okay.
So you can go, look, my child you've given my child these drugs.
The medication, they're not working.
Yeah. And I go, and I right, exactly. I'm going, yeah, I get it. Exactly. I get it.
Yeah,
okay.
I see where you're coming from.
Yeah, I see it. Yeah, I can see that. Absolutely. I go, Jake, would you be open to a point of view on this?
Sure.
Right. So he's
Oh, I
like,
see. I thought you were just talking to me in general, but yeah, no, no,
yeah.
that's
So
how
you're,
it feels. Where it's like,
yeah. Would you
would
be
you be
open to
open to
a
this?
point of view
Okay.
on this? Okay. So now I can start influence. I can start persuasion because I did influence. I got in the river with you.
Yeah,
Yeah, I didn't go,
you're
Jake,
feeling.
don't
Yeah,
be angry. I didn't go, no, it's not the drugs that we gave. The child's taking something else at the same time. What else have you done? Like, what else has changed? Like,
yeah.
something else is, you've done something else.
We're
It's like,
focusing on the
yeah.
problem.
So Jake, would you be open to another point, to a point of view on this?
That
Okay.
was an
You're
angry
most
patient. I
likely
would
to go, yeah. I go, okay,
obviously.
before I get into that, has anything else changed recently?
And that sounds professional in all honesty. It makes us feel like we are, but it makes the patient feel like they're being cared for, and it makes us feel like you are a professional that wants to look at everything to make a proper diagnosis. So
Right,
that's perfect.
exactly. Well, I'm
That's
now doing,
perfect.
listen, I know nothing about being a doctor.
No, I
Okay.
mean,
But all I'm doing here is in my world of communication, all I'm doing is that I can't prescribe anything unless I understand the diagnosis,
exactly.
which I know from the world of communication. I've got to go, okay, tell me what is happening right now.
Right.
Yeah.
I
I've
need
gone, hey,
context.
I've got an idea about this. Yeah. I've got an idea about this. But before I go that, what else has been going on? And then
Exactly.
you'd be
Tell
able
me
to tell
more.
me, okay, well, we started eating this, or we've been doing this, or okay,
Mhm.
what else? What
Yeah.
else? What else?
Yeah.
Okay.
They really
And
stress the tell me
right.
more idea.
And here's what,
Like,
yeah, that tell
yeah.
me more.
Yeah.
Okay. But here's what's happening, Jake, is I'm getting you into conversation right now. I'm getting you
Hmm.
talking
Hmm.
because it's very hard when you use language and also higher level language and talk about history. Here's what we did. Okay, we did this on this day and this on this day. It's very difficult for you to sustain the emotions during that. So this is going to lower, yeah, it's going to lower your anger. Okay, I
Talking
might,
history is not good.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Oh
And
no, you can talk history. You want to take them out of the now. Okay,
oh,
because
you
they're
want to
angry.
tell history.
Yeah, they're
So okay,
angry
okay, okay.
now. They're angry
Yes.
now. Okay.
Okay.
I can absolutely see how angry you are
Yeah.
right now. Yeah.
Tell me more.
Yeah. Tell me more about that.
So that,
Okay.
and then
Okay. And I go, look, I've got some ideas around that. Before I go there, can you tell me a little bit about what else has been happening?
mm,
Okay. And
yeah.
then I'm going to show you writing and I'm going to write down, I'm going to go, okay, that's really important.
Mm,
Okay. So I'm going to show you that you say stuff and it's important to me.
putting in effort.
Okay. And I'm
Yeah.
going to try and get you to move timelines as well. So you're not in the now anymore. Let's go back. Let's
Yeah.
go back. What's been happening
Yeah.
here? What's been
Yeah.
happening here?
Yeah.
Because
Working
you,
through it.
right, because you can
Yeah.
only really be angry with a true emotion right now. Okay. But if
Yeah.
I can take you back in history, yeah,
Perfect.
it's a little too much for the mind to do, to be
Yeah.
angry right now and in the past.
Oh, cool. So
Yeah.
you kind of force a forget of the anger in a
Yeah.
way.
Look, and I can get you to use your imagination. Okay, I can go, look, let's just think about this. What are you looking for? Perfect state here. Yeah,
Yeah.
what do you need?
Yeah.
So I'm now getting to hear your needs and using you to use your imagination of the future.
There
Yeah.
we go.
That all helps me as a communicator understand what are you actually trying to get here? What are you trying to get away from?
Right.
Yeah. And what are you trying to get?
Two.
Yeah. And it may seem obvious. You've come in angry.
Because certain diseases, let's say, can't be treated. Like they
Right.
can't be cured completely. A lot of diseases can't be cured or completely. So you need to come to a consensus where that at this point the parent knows like, oh, my child has such and such, and it's just been really overactive lately. I want it to be. I understand it can't be completely gone, but I want it to be somewhat gone. The medication didn't help, and I'm pissed. So
Right.
like that's yeah. So
Right.
there we go.
Right.
So
Right.
identifying
Exactly.
exactly what they want is honestly not a bad idea because it's
Yeah.
not always the same answer.
But I'm all the time trying to de-escalate, first of
De-escalate.
all, by accepting the state that they're in.
Right.
Yeah.
Accept.
Accept the
Then
state. Then
ask how do
change
you
the
want it?
state. Change
Or
the
sorry.
state. Yeah.
Yeah.
Give them
Change the
options
state.
for other states.
Right. Tell
Yeah.
me more, right?
Tell me
Go
more.
back to the past.
Yeah.
Right. So first
Yeah.
acceptance, then kind of in a way deflection
Yeah.
by like tell me more, da da da, and then establish the solution or establish the problem and how it wants to be solved. Where does the patient feel like their kid should be right now? Best case
Right.
scenario. And
Right.
then from there, I guess the next thing would be provide the solution, right?
Absolutely. So here's what
Right.
tends to happen, Jake, when somebody comes to us with conflict, okay, with aggression, is that especially if we're experts, okay, which any of our listeners, our watchers at the moment will be in that expert area. They
Definitely.
have some very good scientific ideas of what's gone on.
Of course.
Okay, it's
Of
fair.
course.
That's a very good, and even before that person's come in, they know that the appointment's been made. They're already going, "Oh, I know what's gone on here. I know what's gone on here."
Hmm.
Yeah, reception has already said, "Oh, mother, father are super upset here." They've already
Yeah.
told, the admin, here's what they're saying. So I'm already prepared with, I know exactly what's gone on here. Yeah. So I'm
Exactly.
already defensive because it's not my fault. It's actually nothing to do with me. Okay,
So
so I'm
avoid
already
this,
defensive
definitely.
and I
Yeah.
already have the answer of what they need to do. Okay.
Right.
But that never really helps anybody. Okay. They're gonna, that won't influence or persuade them in any way. It will just argue with them. And in order for them to change their behavior, I must persuade them, which means I first of all
Yeah.
have to influence them, which means I must join their side and go, I totally see what you're saying. I totally get where you're at right now. Instead of going, actually, let me just stop you. Here's what's happened.
So there's communication.
You haven't been taking the medication with, they haven't been taking the medication with food, have they? You've been giving to them last thing at night.
It puts the blame on them. You know what I mean?
Right,
That kind of methodology puts the blame on them. So
right.
starting with the I get it, going into the tell me more, then you can say, oh, like I think I see what's going on here. And they're like, oh,
Yeah,
what's up? And it's like, when were you taking medication? Oh, this time. Da, da. But I think, or like it seems
right.
as though the medication works best at this time.
Yeah.
So what I can do for you is da, 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 and you kind of go on.
Yeah, I mean, it's very easy for
Right?
me to say, okay, so when just remind me when they've been taking the medication.
Mm,
Okay, good, I get it. So why at that time? Oh, I see. It's difficult for them to take it at night. It's you remember in the, you're sorry, it's
right.
difficult to take it in the morning. You've been
Whatever it
remembering
is.
at
Yeah.
night. I totally get
Yeah.
that. Yeah, okay, I understand. I
Yeah.
understand that. Yeah. Okay, so look, here's what the science tells us. So I
It
go
works
to
better in
some
the
other
morning.
authority. Here's what the
So
science
you
tells
point,
us.
yeah.
Yeah, it makes, if you take it at night, people feel really sick and in a lot of
Hmm.
pain. If it's
Hmm.
taken in the morning, way less so. So I'm just curious, what do you want to do about that?
Wow, interesting. You want to let the patient think for themselves,
Yes.
essentially.
Yeah,
Don't
because
tell them what the answer is. Let them guide them to that ideology that you have,
yes,
essentially.
because they're the only people that can do the behavioral change.
Exactly.
You can't.
Exactly.
Yeah. All you can do is let them come to the thinking. Yeah, because
Yeah. Yeah.
their thinking was, if I just give them medication
It
when
should
and
be
where I
fine.
can do it, we'll get away with it. No, you
Exactly.
haven't got away with it. You haven't. They're
Obviously.
in pain. You have not got
Yeah.
away with it at
Yeah.
all. But if I come to you and go, look, you're a bad parent. You don't come to me with your shouting and your screaming. The reason the kid's in more pain is you, not me. I've got good medicine. You can't knuckle yourself down to give that kid the medicine when the kid needs the
Right.
medicine. Okay. I could go along
Yeah.
those lines. Yeah. I tell you what they'll find another doctor.
In all honesty, yeah. And they'll leave a
Yeah.
bad review for you too, which
Yeah.
doesn't
Yeah.
look good.
Absolutely.
Doesn't look good
But
at
if
all.
I take them through ultimately what I would say is the Socratic thinking of it,
Right.
is to go,
Yeah.
the issue here, Jake, is when you're an expert and you have solutions, you enjoy jumping to solutions. It feels
Oh
so
my
good.
God.
Just
It
feels so good.
that's my weakness, Mark. That's
Yeah,
my
well, of
weakness.
course it's your weakness, Jake, because you are spending your life at the moment learning
So
solutions and good
learning, yeah,
solutions. Yeah.
yeah.
And they're good solutions. Okay. And they're backed up. Like, you've seen the papers and you've
Mm,
gone down, we tested more than 500 people on this, and there is such a damn good chance that this works that I would
yeah.
stake somebody else's life on it.
Life on it. Your life on it,
Okay.
honestly.
Yeah, I
Like,
would
yeah.
stake your life
Like,
on it.
yeah, your life
Yeah.
on it.
Right. And so at that point, your brain is most likely to go, do you know how much money, effort, human life we spent on getting the solution to this? This is good. Just take the medicine when I tell you to take the
Yeah.
medicine. Yeah.
It's, oh,
And does
yeah.
anybody do that? No. No, they don't. They don't. So it doesn't work. Okay. And you know this, Jake, but I know this from the moment your patient comes in and you say, so have you been taking the medicine? Yeah. And they go, yeah, they're lying. They're lying.
That was my next question.
They're always lying.
Complacency.
Okay.
Complacency is such an issue
We know
right
we're
now.
always lying. You should know that we're always lying.
We can tell. We can
Yeah.
see what the situation is. Like,
Right.
you still have red skin. Like,
Right.
it's a problem.
Right. So it's clear either there is something anomalous happening, and that would be, that's a possibility, but it's a
Right.
low possibility because
Right.
you've seen the numbers, so you know
Right.
it's a low possibility, or most likely we haven't been doing what was prescribed. Okay.
Which is why we get the history and we try our best to avoid them from lying.
Right. Right.
I feel like we should
exactly.
implement the right hand on the book thing that they do in courts. That would be amazing. But no,
Right.
to each their own.
Even then, lies happen. So you must influence and persuade, which is now, that's hard work for you, because here's the way I want you to think about it. Can you jump to solution slower? You will get there, but there's the slower you do it. Yeah, the more you accept at the start, the more you try. What do you think you should do? Yeah,
I would say, yeah.
The more you do that, listen. When I walk into the doctors and I go, listen, it's 50 milligrams of amoxicillin twice a day. Let's just do this. I
like that methodology. Right? We need more you.
Yeah. Okay. But listen, I don't know what I'm talking about. I've had times when I've walked in there and they've gone, okay, look, tell me. Yeah. And they've gone, yeah. Here's actually what it is, Mark. And I'm like, really? You go, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
I see what you mean.
Yeah.
I see what you mean.
But because I walk in and I tell them what I think it is and what should be. Yeah. Because I think, I could have all these certificates. Yeah, I could have all of these. I am Dr. Google. Okay, I'm, I'm. But you got to give me an element of that to go. Listen, what do you think is the best course of action
your
here?
Own doctor.
Yeah. What do you think? Doctor. Well, I think it should be this, and this. Okay. Would you be open to another idea?
Okay, let's hear because you just put in a bunch of thought coming up with the answer as a patient, and then the doc says you want to like try this, and at this point it brings me back to our original conversation. We were sitting at 90 degrees with this paper and a whiteboard,
right?
And we're just saying, oh, what do you like? Passing off the pen, what do you think is going on? And then now you're inviting them to pass the pen to you so you can provide the solution.
Right. Listen, because here's the problem is, Jake, is you can give me the best diagnosis and prescription and I'm not going to do it.
Because I don't believe in it.
Because I don't believe in it.
You don't believe in it.
And I don't believe in your voodoo science. Okay, I'm in pain right now. You're not in pain. You're smarter than me. I'm not that smart. Let me show you who has power here. Me. You can give me life-saving drugs and I won't take them. I'll show you who's most powerful here. I'll die. I will die showing you who's most powerful. Okay.
That's another thing. That's another thing that I want to address here too, which is great that we're covering all these questions so quickly. It's people that are in denial of the system. The way they distribute medication in Europe and America and China and Canada, probably different in some specific ways. So when you have people who are coming in from other countries, on like my favorite one is our like I'm Middle Eastern, and our favorite joke is like, oh, are you in pain? Just spray some Windex on it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like so patients will walk in. I bet you patients will walk in.
Ammonia has some benefits.
Exactly. So the idea of pushing them away from that idea and more accepting the research that you have is to do this exact process. One, say, I get it. I know where you are. And then two is like, tell me more. What's going on? Let's get the history. Three, and then from there, it's like, let's provide, not provide a solution, but say, what do you think is going on? What can we do to help fix this? And then you say, can I take the pen? And can I provide the solution? Like, can I provide what I think is a good? And it's a team effort. There's a team effort. And honestly, 15 minutes is not enough time to do this. I'll be like, I mean, I haven't done it yet. I don't know, but something tells me 15 minutes is not going to be enough for this. But if you were to go those extra 10 minutes more, I think it would much limit the follow-up appointments that you'll have with these patients. So that is 10 minutes extra spent for 15 minutes saved. And that's a benefit.
That's a great way of thinking about it. And
Right.
look, and there may need, depending on what system you're in, that maybe needs some legislation. That may, I mean, I don't know what that would take for that, which is a good idea, good solution there, which is okay. Well, I need 25 minutes because I'll save 15 and 15 and 15 down the road.
But how do you convince them that?
Okay, so you got to lobby certain organizations around that. Okay, but here would be my immediate solution, and it's not perfect, which is, can you just spend a little more time on that influence piece? Portion and just one more time. But just if you just add this question, what do you think you should do about this? What's your diagnosis? What's your thoughts on this? And sure, they're going to go blah 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 blah, and they could be going for a long time, and you can easily go, listen, I just want to interrupt you right now because I want to just check in with you. Would you be open to hearing what my solution is to this one? Yeah, because they're most likely to go, yeah, they just needed to say their bit.
Yeah, or at least a portion of it.
A portion of it.
To get them excited. To get them like, oh, we're working on this together,
Right.
And I definitely see where you're coming from. And that's,
right. And listen, here's what I know, Jake, is this technique works in all other industries. Yeah. Why? And you can do it fast. Okay. I often meet a lot of pressure from the medical industry going, healthcare going, yeah, but not for us. It's like, why are you so different? Yeah. And people go, well, I don't have enough time. It's like, do you know how long you get to win, $500 million? It's like, you don't get long. It's the first 5 minutes. It's like, and we're doing the same stuff. So I think often there can be, look, healthcare is such an important world because it's literally life and death. Okay, so I totally get it, and I totally get the pressures. There's a lot of people coming in and out, who some of them close to death, and some of them are not quite close enough. Because so they're difficult. They're not feeling it. Yeah, right. Yeah. They're not feeling it. They're not going. Whatever you say, Jake, I will do this. I'm feeling the pain, and I know I'm on the brink. So I will take anything. That's
the problem with these silent killer diagnoses, like hypertension and stuff like that, like high blood pressure. It doesn't hit you until it kills you. That kind of thing. So when you see it, you want to address it to the patient, but you don't. They're like, I feel fine. Why are you giving me this medication? Well, it's like, you're fine now.
Right.
But in a month's time, if you can see your habits and this hypertension continues, you'll have a heart attack. But I guess I can get into our last idea is, but how do you tell a patient there is a problem when they feel like there isn't one?
Use a metaphor. It's very, if you're going to hit me directly with my mortality, yeah. I mean, I'm 55 now, so stuff aches more, and I have to take medicine for all kinds of stuff, and I'm pretty much as bad as everybody else, and I don't take it at the right time or every day. They haven't given me the right metaphor to help me think of it in a way that's palatable to think about, because we're dealing with my own mortality, which I'm going to try and avoid. Okay, so taking one of these preventative medicines, Jake, on a daily basis, what's it like? And don't make it about people. I mean, don't make it about health and people, because I don't want to approach that.
The first metaphor that comes to my head is taking a preventative medication is like raising the drawbridge to a castle, so that the enemies can't storm in.
Love it. I love that. What a lovely image. Yeah. So what if you said it like this? You said, Mark, look, you are a castle. Okay. You are strong. Yeah, you are a castle, and you are strong. Yeah. And your defenses, you got these beautiful, tall defenses around you.
Archers, cannons.
Yeah, archers,
fireballs,
and I understand how it's you are invincible. Okay.
You could feel invincible.
Yeah, you can feel invincible. Okay. There is a drawbridge. okay, and the invaders inevitably are coming.
Mm.
Would you want to raise the drawbridge? So you just asked me that.
Yeah.
Do you want to raise the drawbridge? Well, I'm going
Do
to
you
say
want? Oh, I
yeah.
see. You need some more setup then, because I
Yeah,
just
yeah.
said, "Oh, it's a castle and there's a drawbridge." But what you say is, "You are strong like a castle." What do
Yeah,
you mean that?
yeah.
Like get into those like
I mean,
weeds.
the
Okay, I
moment
like
you
very
start, I
improv.
mean, I even know what you did there, and I instantly went, oh, I like Jake. I like Jake because
Yeah,
he understands how strong I am. Yeah, because I
yeah.
feel invincible.
How strong you feel.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah. So the
Yeah,
moment you go, hey, do you want to raise the drawbridge? I'm going to go, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
definitely.
And you go, Mark. So it's one pill a day,
Yeah,
okay,
very small.
at a specific time, one pill a day at night when
In
you
the
go to
morning.
bed. You know,
Here we go.
one pill. You know. Now, the problem is it's very easy to let the drawbridge down. Yeah, it's very easy. What do you want to do in
Oh,
order
you're saying
to?
this to the patient. It's very easy to
Yeah,
let
yeah,
the drawbridge
yeah.
down.
It's very
Yeah.
easy to let that drawbridge down,
What
and
do
it's
I do?
down some nights, and it's for a week, and then it's
Yeah.
suddenly up, and it's
Sometimes it's
like,
yeah.
yeah, and if that happens over time, the invaders are getting in.
Right.
You know,
Right.
they're getting in. They're getting
Right.
in. So what do you want to do about that?
What do you want?
Yeah, and I might go, okay, so now you're asking me to create a solution.
We find that there's a problem. But we need
Right,
to convince them that there is a problem. That's what the castle metaphor is for. So we can then
right,
shift their minds from, oh, I'm here for a checkup. I'm just gonna like, I don't know, cough while he taps my back and then
right,
be good. To now it's like, oh, I'm about to get invaded. Like
right, right.
now you're saying what's the solution? I can start kind of I can get I mean I'm already in your mindset.
Actually, it's meaning, what's called meaning, the direction of something. Okay,
Yeah,
it's
I
called
see that.
nautical meaning, the
Yeah.
way in which to go. Okay,
Yes.
if you don't give me a story, I have no meaning. I have no
No
way to
compass.
go. Yeah.
Exactly.
And you studied the science of it. And so you already have story. And you call your story fact. Yeah. And I'm not discounting that. I'm not saying it's
Well,
not fact. Okay. I'm
yeah.
saying, listen, it's the best facts you have today based on how you went to go and get the facts. It's
Hmm.
science, which is the best idea we have today based on how we went to get that idea. That's
Right.
that's which says there may be a better idea tomorrow. Okay, good. It's always trying to get better. Okay, it's always trying to get better. That's the nature of science.
Step
We always
step
go,
by step.
step by step, could we
Yeah.
get better? So you have the current, in your mind, the best story. Okay, can you help me get the best story for me? Because I'm not a scientist.
Right.
Yeah?
And that's where the metaphor comes in.
Absolutely. That's where the
Essentially.
metaphor is. And I want to say, Jake, like you've given great metaphors today. The castle one, I don't know whether you've used that before, but
I've
like,
never. I just have a couple of few like minor questions for you.
yeah,
We did mention that you are going to be teaching in Toronto, and I think that's really, really cool. I was
yeah.
just kind of curious about what the curriculum looks like. Like, what are you going to be teaching there?
Just like a lot, yourself, Jake, and a lot of your colleagues and fellows at any university, there is this piece about research,
Important.
and it's super important. That's what I'm going to be doing there. Though I have worked a lot in the past with physicians, with doctors on how to, and nurses actually, on how to specifically keep people on trials. That's some communication work
Oh,
I've done. Yeah. I mean, as you
interesting.
well know, that's tricky. Some trials you've got very few people that you can have on it, and
Exactly.
you're going to lose some by some unfortunate attrition, but also
Exactly.
you lose some which is like they haven't got the heart for it anymore. It's like, they're not
I
into
don't
it. You
want to
haven't
keep going.
convinced them. Like,
Yeah.
how I can't keep going.
Man.
Yeah, so
I
so
know.
so
Yeah.
that's some work that I've done before. Again, it's influence and persuasion. It's creating the right story, having the right empathy
Wow.
around it. Because as you well know, Jake, you can go off and get the money, then you can do the trials, and now you're
Mhm.
losing people on the trials,
Because of trials.
and it's all going
So
to go for
yeah,
nothing.
and that
You
that
know?
means it matters. The researchers at that point care so much more about your mentality and how you can convey emotion because they know, hey, these trials have they're really smart people, but the trial people are
Right,
not complying. So you better
right.
have a good personality to convince them to continue to remain uncomplacent, like to not remain complacent.
Totally.
You
The
know,
science is not going
I
to convince them
no, because
to
they don't know
stay on
what's
the
going
trial.
on. They're in the trial. Yeah,
They're in
exactly.
the
You know,
trial. What's the big story here
yeah,
that
that's
will
the convincer.
convince somebody
Hmm.
when they might be in pain on a daily basis? to add more potential pain to that, or no apparent alleviation of the pain. I mean, who knows? At some, as you well know, Jake, at some levels of trial, they're on a placebo.
Yep.
So
and they probably think that, like, oh, I'm on a placebo.
Yeah, they're thinking
they get scared.
Right, they get scared. It's like, what am I doing? I'm now traveling. I'm having to travel for a day into an institution to potentially take sugar.
Maybe.
Maybe. To take nothing, to have nothing happen.
God.
Yeah. And why would I be doing that? So what is the story that you need to and that is not a fantasy. It's just, what's the way of looking at this that would cause people to get aligned to your vision in terms of how they can have, often we call it better bedside manner, how they can empathize, relate to people, way better as well, because it's important. It makes a difference to to the behavior of people around you.
And today has been, like, this conversation has been a huge kind of sum up of probably that most important idea of bedside manner, not only with patients, but with prospect grant providers.
Right.
It really comes down to that kind of air quote bedside manner idea. And then what is my last question for you today is, in an ideal world where everyone has the same, has perfect communication, perfect behavior skills, what does that, I don't want to get you to think here. What does that look like to you?
Yeah, well, look, everybody would have everything they want in the world, in the universe, if it wasn't for the barriers. Okay.
And those barriers are behavior and communication?
I would say so. Those barriers are behavior and communication, or what we perceive the communication is, or perceive the behavior is. So look, in a perfect world where communication was slick and gritless,
a bunch of stories, a bunch of I get it, a bunch of solution.
So, if you or anybody listening and watching today is thinking, if this could happen faster, there would be a benefit to that. Well, look to communication.
And that some of that stuff that we talked about today would probably maybe be in the book. Who knows?
Exactly.
That. But yeah, awesome. Thank you so much for a wonderful podcast.
My pleasure, Jake. Awesome. Anytime.